Z for MarketWizards.com, reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. All right, we're coming into the end of the lunch period. Got a 1-minute chart on. We're going to scroll back and look at a couple. This is one of the ways I train myself to see rabid dog days and potential targets, starting with the larger time frames and then work back to the ones. I used to think the only thing that was important was the bigger time frames like 60, but I've learned that you also need, for execution purposes, you need the ones and the threes. And we'll take a look at a couple of charts. And again, if you're looking over my shoulder, this is the methodology that I use, parts of it. And it's not to say that you should be doing that, just trying to show you some things I'm looking at and keep training myself to be a better trader. So here's a 1-minute chart, and we can see early this morning I had said it looked like 6 o'clock. The boys had really, put it out there and saying that we're going to go upside. Had a nice pullback into news. But we're able to hold this 70, and we had talked about this the last couple of days, how important that 960 was. That was a breakout area, and we held that, and then we consolidate and we come up. And at the open, we come out of the gate and we're above all of the lines. And once we start to go vertical, first target was basically let's challenge that 14,062.5 target. And if we can get above that, then we're going to keep reading the chart as to successive potential targets. And once we take out this pivot at 62.5, then it's clear sailing, and we're looking for these targets. I had that 44 that I talked about, done deal. I thought that was going to be an important target. And then above that is on a multiple breakout, anything the market can get. And you're not going to get a day like this every day, but certainly you want to be prepared for it and understand where it's suicidal to try to go back against it. We had a small contra here, and we're still going right back up once we broke out of that 284 target that we had. And right now we're using 296.75 as our pivot. Got to get up above the 336, halfway into the next box. And here's our major pivot, 14,375. So, and on any one day, we never know we're going to get a flyer like this, but the trajectory that we're looking at is the most important part of this. And once we stay above the green and the red, that just keeps rocking and rolling. We get up to that 60 target that we talked about, and then the next target is, can we challenge that 80? And you can see that 18 area that held that we just talked about here, that held nicely and then pushed up to challenge the 96 at lunchtime. And we're still rocking and rolling on a 1-minute chart. We go into a little bit of sideways action here. Target that we had talked about, 336 to 43.75. Make sure you are paid. So let's now go back and scroll back and see what else we may have missed. So I'm going to go to a 3, and you can just see how good this chart was. Get above the rain line, and this is the news event, and then we come out the top flying, and perfect idea here on this pullback right into the red line and push, and we get to the next level. And again, this is this is using this line. I'm sorry, the 18 back here, bottom of the yellow circle. Try to get above the 96, and then half span in the next box. And let's scroll to I really like the 3, but let's look at a 5. can see how perfect the 5 was, and then we get this push. And once we have the 5 supportive, then we know we can use the 3 inside of that idea. And you can just see this was straight up, pull back. So the 3s and 5s very helpful. And then I'm going to look at the 15. And we can see just how important this pullback was. And that guy is supportive, in my opinion, till broken. And we talked about that yesterday, how important it was for the longs to keep momentum and pressure up, because it was a 456 trade that we were looking at. And that's speaking on the yearly basis. Here's a 30 where we righted the ship yesterday. Blue line is holding, that 850 is holding, and then today we're above this blue line the whole time. We can see we're ahead of ourselves, right? We're so far ahead of ourselves right now on on this green line. There should be a little bit of profit taking, but I don't think it's going to be a plunge or anything like that. And in my work, I'm looking at, you got to beat the 08 to 96, 296.5 first. And here's the 60 where we messed around just under the rain line and then took root and came up. And we can see just how powerful this 60 is, and how that also, we're so far ahead of ourselves. It's crazy right now. But you have to look at one chart at a time and decide where your edge is. Of course, this afternoon, anybody wants to trade now. If you haven't made it by now, much tougher odds, because we've got substantially all of the targets we were looking for. And now it's just a matter of, can they squeeze a little more before the end of the day? RTH chart, 3-minute chart. Certainly anybody that's had a good day, time to lock profits, no need to do anything. And let's take a look at one more chart, which I have not updated yet, but I will. And that was our yearly that we looked at. And put the new value up here in just a minute. Most of these charts automate on their own, but this one I forced myself to put the numbers in here just to keep track. And this was the line that I was looking for, 456. So on a 456 trade, this was our 40, this was our 50 back, and this was our 60 back. And this was the target that I thought we would go after before we were done, either today or next week. Obviously got it all in one shot. And you can see just how significantly ahead of ourselves we are right now. And it looks to me like we're coming back in to test that 96 to 300. Not doing anything here. I'm happy with what I've done today, and may take one more trade before done, but I just wanted to go through and show a couple of the things that I was looking at, things that were important to me. And there are other charts that I have not put on, but no, this was the most important part. So I'm going to scale this back now to like a 5. And range trading for now. And if you want the fast chart, then put the 3 on. All right, just a quick peek at some of the charts I'm using. And again, I'm not looking for a plunge this afternoon. We'd said the next target should be that 36 to 43. Anything up above that, in my opinion, is obviously good fortune. We could get a reversal this afternoon with some profit taking, but I'm not really thinking it's going to stick. Anything comes backward this way, it'll probably get bought one more time. So for now, let's consider this area right here. That prior area is very important. at 84 area. And got to keep an eye on that because that would be a retest, obviously. All right, this is E for marketwizards.com. Hoping that you have yourself a great day and a great weekend. Thanks for listening.